Hi, I'm Shelley Wood and this is my tiny sewing room where I make doll clothes sewing videos. Today I'm going to show you how to make a pair of satin shoes which will fit the new 13-inch My First Barbies, as well as the vintage Judy Littlechap dolls. My shoes are satin on the outside with a cotton lining on the inside. But it's okay to just use cotton for them too. That's easier if you're a beginner. Now, before we begin this project, please go to shelleywood.com to download and print this free PDF sewing pattern. For each shoe, cut out one large, for me it's a satin fabric piece, a smaller cotton V-shaped fabric piece, one cotton sole, and one craft foam sole. That's for each shoe. Lay the cotton V-shaped piece over the satin V-shaped piece, keeping right sides together. Sew along the inside area where they match. It's sort of hard to see my stitches, but on the satin side you can see them a little bit better. Carefully clip this seam. It's helpful to use Fisker's 5-inch stitchers for this project, which is what I'm using. If you've never bought yourself some of these little tiny scissors from Fisker's, they're wonderful. I've put a link to Fisker's 5-inch stitchers detail scissors in the description below. Turn the shoe right side out, which is what you see me doing here. So I'm just going to flip it, finger press a little bit, and then press the seam. Now, with satin you want to set your iron on medium to low. Now we're going to attach the cotton lining piece to the cotton sole with right sides together. Okay, so I have a notch at the top of both the sole and the cotton piece, so you know to start joining them right at that notch. That's where we're going to start sewing. Right at the notch, and then you're going to sew down the side, attaching the sole to the raw edge of the lining's fabric. Then start once again at the notch and sew down the other side until the sole is attached to the lining. Pinch the fabric together at the heel. I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, so here's what I have so far. I've attached the sole just to the lining, not to the satin outer fabric. And I'm going to pinch it together right here on the end where the heel would be. And it's a little too long for the heel, but you're going to sew from the heel of the lining's fabric to the bottom of the outer fabric's heel. When this stitch is finished, then you're going to use your little tiny Fisker scissors to clip right where the outer fabric and the lining fabric meet up. And then you're going to flip the shoe right side out. Now it can help to use a chopstick for inverting the shoe. Okay, here's what we do. We clip and then we invert. And you can see it can be tricky. It's very tiny, so use a little chopstick to help you with that. Now we're looking at the sole here, and now we're looking at the lining. Gather the edges of the outer fabric. For me, that's the satin. Now this can cause satin to fray a bit, but be brave and gather all the way around. Do not tie off your gathers. Instead, keep the gather thread intact, you can see me holding it there, and slip the doll's foot into the shoe. Now pull your gather thread to tighten the gathers. Okay, so I've got the shoe on the doll. I'm going to tighten it up by pulling that gather thread until it's a good fit. Once your gathers are pulled tight, then you tie a knot. Okay, so I'm making sure it fits her. I'm looking it over, making sure it looks good in the heel. And then once I feel comfortable with it, that's when I tie the knot. Now we're not quite done. It's starting to look more like a shoe. But you're going to follow all the instructions so far to make a second shoe, and then use the sole pattern to cut out 2 craft foam soles. But cut off the notch at the top. You don't want that notch. Now with the shoes on your doll's feet, hot glue the soles to the fabric shoes. Okay, you want to be careful because, especially if you're using the vintage doll, you don't want to damage the doll. So obviously take your time, make sure that your work area is clean, and you might even want to protect the doll's foot with maybe some plastic wrap or something. Okay, and I'm hot gluing, and then I'm just sticking it onto the bottom. Now it looks much too big, and that's okay. I actually designed it that way. What you should do is use craft scissors, not fabric scissors, to cut away the excess craft foam from the shoes so that it molds to the shape that we've created. And that's what I'm doing here, is just cutting away any extra craft foam. You want to be careful that you don't accidentally cut the fabric. Follow these directions for both shoes so they each get a sole, and now you're ready to try the shoes on a doll. For more free printable PDF sewing patterns to fit dolls of many shapes and all different sizes, please remember to visit my website, shelleywood.com. Hey, did you know that you could design your own doll pants patterns from scratch with just a limited amount of sewing knowledge? Pattern design is made simple by connecting your doll's measurements with a template I give you during my course. I'm Shelley Wood, the doll clothing designer. I own Shelley Wood LLC and the website shelleywood.com. In my Creative Spark online learning course on doll pants design, I'll teach you the basic fundamentals of pattern design, like how do seam allowances work, before we move on to work on designing our own leggings, jeans, fly front pants, and even overalls. So please join me. I would love to see you on the Creative Spark online learning platform. Come see what we offer. Again, I'm Shelley Wood, one of the instructors.